The Magnetic Diaries, a narrative in poems by Sarah James.
When Emma Bailey first seeks medical help, her third bout of depression has brought her to the edge of despair, suicide, some GPS uncharted Hades. Her PHQ-9 score is 22 and her GAD-7 19, severe depression and anxiety. With a long history of dissatisfaction, overspending, miscarriages and having cheated on her husband, MB names Roddy and Lee, Emma's marriage has been pushed to the brink. While there are symptoms consistent with hypomania, there are no evident signs of any psychotic episodes, as most likely with bipolar. It seems more probable that these are linked to aspects of anxiety disorder, with a retreat into books and sex caused by lethargy and the depressive's need to find some meaning, purpose, enjoyment in life, or the illusion of escape, boredom perhaps. Her husband, Carl, her childhood sweetheart, runs a small GP practice. It is unclear from Emma exactly how much he knows, but he is at his wit's end with worry. Their daughter Beth, 6, is too young to understand what is happening to her mother, but Emma believes she is aware that something is wrong. Emma is reticent about her own upbringing, but seems to have little contact now with her father. Her mother died when she was young, and she has no living siblings. A large portion of Emma's time is spent watching films, reading, particularly poetry, and sometimes writing. Though she has some online interactions with friends, her life appears to have become increasingly disconnected from reality. Having tried pills, counselling, and continuing efforts at cognitive self-control without success, Emma is willing, desperate, needs to grasp at whatever kindling of hope she can find. She has signed up for a series of RTMS. Sequences of brief magnetic pulses will be used to target that part of the brain which regulates these emotions. Treatment is for a minimum of 4 weeks and requires her to stay in London, the longest time she has been away from her country home in Yondon, Cornwall. She has been advised to keep a mood diary. Parts of this, along with some emails and details of earlier recorded symptoms, are reconstructed here from her medical notes. This story is not her or her family's alone, and is shared with permission, on condition that real identities remain anonymous and her words be presented in a manner suitable to her true state of mind at the time. As researchers at the Bon Homme Foundation, we are fully versed in the special considerations needed for a project where science and medicine interact with literature, and we're happy to accord with these requests.
Hinges.
We shout about bills, chores, who last took the bins out. Doors quake, frames, thuds crescendo. Then we kiss.
We kiss cockroaches, ants, nettles, stones, broken glass, splintered wood, scratched paint, rusting nails, red lips.
Red lips part. Fear pours out. Our hollow mouths suck in. We swallow whole each brush of skin at first.
At first, lampshades shake, walls vibrate, the curtains flap, windows unhinge, doors open, strike pinball.
Pinball thumbs now readied. We nudge and nudge again, half knowing already what comes later.
Later, knives clatter, forks fall, plates clunk, while he throws gestures at my face, lets them bounce. Return. We shout. Iron filings. Twigs dissect the sky, clouds loose, their bones. Birds fly unscripted. North, not. Who, what, where am I? Shore, south. Doubt magnetizes. Doubt, debt, death. Caves of drought, dread, dregs. Mouth icicles. Hot desert of metal sand. Frozen waterholes. Beauty is as beauty dose. Life gravitates around me. Mostly. Far. Sometimes close. The test. 2 adults bored in a bar. One sinks a quick pint. The other sips a G&T. Double this. Glass circles clink. Their skin meets. The words exchanged equal less than a fraction of the body parts combined. Does love of poetry plus an exponential lust for sex equate to A. An unhealthy obsession greater than 1, B. A tangent to infinity, C. Madness squared. D. Sum of the cosine central y's and what's of living, that is, a remainder of what it is to feel alive. E. Too much time on their hands. F. X rated equals 42. Packing up a trousseau. Fluorescent light tubes hum. The kitchen a beehive. Other rooms unhoneyed. The bedroom walls pound with their paleness. While spilt yolks sizzle, egg whites congeal in place of my scoured eyes. This love is a frying of my insides, the curling edges of another's bridal petticoat, whose lace shape won't be hacked to make a perfect daughter, wife, or mother. Secrets. Lies shriek loudest at night when Carl sighs beside me. 3 a.m. Something battles against the water pipes, the chimney coughs. Our fridge's purr turns to fierce roar. Claws scrape on near bricks. The bushes snarl. Then a car door slams in a stifled metal kiss. The walls muffled thuds, shuffling floorboard creakings, and the wind in the rafters all hiss. We know. Insomniacal. I've forgotten my sleep, left it unblistered, an oval of pale orange in its bed facaded with silver. Black writing imprints my eyelids. Utazap tablets active, restless as the self-slapping winged things beating above. The leather snakes slithering unbuckled from corners. That mosquito buzz in my blood. Here, in the moon's mortar, thoughts ground to fine powder. The night snorts them up from the dark's hackles. Flea bites of tiredness attack. Rats rush to drown in its howl. Away. On leaving for London. Stood at the sink, the garden, dark glass before us. He hugs me. That embrace, Carl's earthy body, my only safety harness against pain's tidal pull away from this racked skeleton of known walls. Bent over our metal basin, my reflection is a dull grey shape sliced by the washing bowl's supporting frame of thin wire. Life itself diced, a giant Rubik's cube, impossible to twist right. Its palms stroke up, down, and across my hips, as if to warm my blood back from this strangest hypothermia. And still the plug hole's slobber lips replace most of my mirrored face. I am a cold fish gulping, too long out of water. My scales leave a shiver of dead cells on his fingers.
Upon initial assessment, before treatment starts, Emma Bailey's Beck Depression Inventory is 44/63, severe depression. Her Beck Anxiety Inventory is 23/63, moderate anxiety.
RTMS. Click, click, click. My scalp reduced to white cap. The point of contact precised. Measurements in black. Click, click, click. A woodpecker tapping would not make more noise than these tacks of force field vibration. Click, 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 unsound patterns. Now twitch my lip. Re-zip. This and this and this. The mind's metal teeth. That too tight vice grip. Click, click, click.
Dear Em, hope you've settled in properly now, and that the treatment is still going well. How is London? Is it as exciting as you imagined it? I wish I could be with you to share the sights together, do fancy the opera, even go shopping with you, if it makes you happy. Have you been to Covent Garden yet? Everything is as usual here. Beth misses you a lot, though Mum has been looking after her well. Justin next door said to give you his best. I think the poor boy has a crush on you. He couldn't stop blushing. And Tom Bennett asked about catching up on Saturday. I said I might go for a quick pint, but only if you don't mind. Work has been busy as ever, just writing up a few notes. We'll call you in a bit, just wanted to make sure you're okay. I hate leaving you there all alone, but you know where I am, and it's nearly the weekend. Beth sends lots of kisses, and can't wait to see you tomorrow. Love you. P.S. Don't cope too well without us.
Journeys. People transferred and filed through tube tunnels shunting like electrons, data, drugs. Earlier wet blossoms on a bough, replaced by plastic arrangements, faceless petals falling from the doors in a synchronized displacement. Somewhere in my head, a bomb that catapults choreography into chaos. A tannoy sparks. Error. Not well formed. Invalid tokens at line 2013. No sign of the way out. Preparations. What am I waiting for? No undressing. Not tonight. I pick up a book, flick the pages, not looking for words or even a title, as if rifling for a reason. The stack grows. Each small weight steadies my shaking hand. Only then do I force my lips to meet the thick tumbler. Tip, water. Slow sips make real the glass. Beside my books, the open mouth of white plastic. I arrange my body on the bed, like in those movies where death is eternal beauty. I focus next on the tub of pressed powder moons, their promise of night. I practice making my throat swallow, to know the easy howl of their drowning. But something awkward cornered sticks in my choked gullet. 1, 2, 3, I count the tablets back. Somewhere in the street, a dog is howling. Vases I have known. That earthenware mug, his impromptu tulip hiding the chipped rim, our wedding present irony in crystal, one vessel for one stem. Those cracked eggshells, cress pushing up from the brown spit embedded in their husks. The egg cup with her daisy. Strange that its tiny pollen sun gives my child so much delight. Our carafe of unhurt plainness, blinding in strong sunlight, space for more than less glittering. In the studio apartment, alone now on the white table, a bulb-shaped blue, holding air, water, air within colour, transparency briefly tinted, casting patterns I can't catch before the dancing petals disappear into the shadow yawn of my empty vase.
Dear Em, sorry I didn't get to talk to you today. I expect you've gone to bed now. How are you coping with the evenings? Are you less lonely? Are you enjoying Madame Bovary? Mum says it might not be the best thing for you to read. She's worried you spend too much time in books and not enough time with Beth. Don't get angry. She doesn't mean to interfere. She's more trying to help the only way she knows how. Anyway, she's also offered to lend us some money to help with the mortgage, just until I can sort things out again. I know you feel she tries to control us and don't want to feel beholden to her, but maybe we should consider it. I don't want you to worry about that now. We can discuss it at the weekend. And to repeat again, I'm not taking her side against you. I just think she might be right. What else? The surgery's busy and predictable as ever. Head, shoulders, knees and toes on continuous repeat, or head, shoulders, knees and toes with some of my patients, at least the last few days. A run of limp and hip replacements too. More moans, more groans and more coughs than a waiting room full of smokers, not forgetting the usual flu and eyes thrown in for variety. To top it all, Will H keeps popping round with all sorts of plans when his pharmacy is on site. He's driving Mrs. L crazy. It's exhausting, and heaven knows what it will cost the surgery. He's wound up about Frank Leyland too. Says the old guy's been out digging on the waste ground by the church again, growing something there. Will's taking it to the parish council apparently. Anything beats dog shit alley and verge cutting, I guess. Still, I can't think what Will's problem with Frank is. I don't imagine he's cultivating weed or anything. Anyway, it's getting late and I should head to bed. But before I do, I was discussing a case with Tim Carter yesterday, and it made me think we should take him and Doug Lander out for dinner, as a thank you for sorting out your treatment. We really do owe him. I'm not sure we could have afforded it otherwise. Not right now for the meal, of course, but when you're feeling better, what do you think? Speak to you tomorrow. Love you.
Private viewing. I gate crash the gallery on a whim. A girl in red oil greets my appearance. A squared dog white at her feet. Instant bohemian devotion. Faces in hoods, animals as ghosts, skulls undressed and molten. The rawness of Lawand is hauntingly emotive. Crosses, hung heads, black shame exposed. Intellectual tidbits, red wine and canapes, corpses in rolled pastry laid out on silver trays. Each one bite richness consumed with the barest muscle motion. From mosaic seeds of inspiration, his brushstrokes trained to my imagination paints in that straining to hone each detail. Hormones make no will creation of my own. Below, the room where his sketches of dead babies stretch out around its white-walled womb. My body, a zoetrope that won't stop spinning, frantic to revive the charcoaled bones. Latent, a stranger's breath greases my neck. Clinging to the damp sheet, a ladybird's vivid splash on not quite white cotton. Its black silk legs make clumpy wire of the man's blonde lashes. His splayed thighs a pale hessian, next to this drop of fresh blood. No cigarette to curve grace into Now's shaken fingers. No ale lubrication to ease me back to last night's sleekness. Far away at the end of the bed, the chipped red of my toenails, a torn flake curled, husk of a dead ladybird.
What you told me. We need to talk about it, properly. You can't hide from this. It won't just evaporate or disappear or turn out to be a dream, no matter how unreal it may seem. Sometimes I'm scared even to ask what's for tea, let alone how your day's been or how you feel. Every time I come home, I'm unsure of what I'll find, if you'll still be there, if you'll still be alive. I love you, we both love you, and we need you.
First hour timings, 6:30 a.m. Alarm. Shock of this clock face. The not yet shaped day, more grit than pearl in my unclammed mouth. 6:40 a.m. Into a kimono of steam, mist dreams skimmed from my waking skin. 6:52 a.m. The mirror ghost has my eyes. She bats them back from the bedroom, gaping behind me. Secret spill. Cover-up stick, foundation, powder. Shadow pastels, liner, mascara. The colours needed to define her. She pulls curves from my tired corners, tones down caved paleness, smooths my flesh's haunting twitches. Her borrowed face taunts me as she glides to and from existence as lightly as water slides from glass, unhampered by the ache of my bones. 7:08 a.m. Clothes, vêtements, investments, garbed into routine, dressed up or down, costume, couture, custom, unhoted into these simple, worn habits. 7:31 a.m. Late again. The past waiting on the doorstep. Lee's sudden animato of laughter. Roddy's yawning stretch to tallness. My breathless hurry to keep up with his stride. Alone, I shake off these memories. Strangeness wears me as its coat, thoughts heavy, stones weighting the pockets. Ambushed, night emotions rise up from cracks in the pavement. Car headlights track me. I feel guilt press its fingertips into my wingless back. The nakedness of clothed bodies. On the tube. The dark-haired office worker, surprising quietness in his hands. No wedding band, a sky-blue shirt, his tie the vermilion of tongues. Shoes of black marble or polished teak. The dude in purple t-shirt, black jacket, an Adidas bag on his back, plum in his hand, hip-hop in his platform stride, even seated, his plimsoll trainers rock and tap. Desires patterned into artificial skins reveal more than bare flesh, a hunger for power, a hankering for attention. For some, the wish to blend in second nature. A plum may easily be exposed, purple pared down to sweet amber, leaving its pitted stone. Bananas peeled from leopard-spotted cloaks, the full-juiced orange relieved of its reptile skin. A kiwi is scooped like soft egg from supple Hessian, pipped roughness on the tongue, the clink of a spoon against teeth, mouth curving to this silver. The fabric shells left, fragments, sucked dry, hunger's remnants harden to brittle crackedness. Back to the tube men. Perhaps eyes meet now with a thrill. But no. Tip gaze straight to the feet. Baker Street. The drummer descends. Marylebone. The smart suit sorties. Paddington. My turn to get off alone. When birds devour a whole fruit, even their waste is a hope, a chance of new life, of growth. Here a used condom spills squashed circles from a rip in the piled refuse. Shreds of plastic snake from the hole, splatters of red, meat chunks and cream sauce dripping. Beside the neatly tied bin bags, an apple bitten down to its core, then discarded. Returning to my apartment lobby, I hunch into rented anonymity, clutch it close as a cold-blooded cape. Safe in my room, I shed this, leave other people's nakedness behind me at the doorway, and pull a continuum of string to raise the etiquetted blinds, masking the flat window. Then I slowly undress, there at the black glass. The night air blends with my skin. Outside, a fruitless tree rustles. 4 kinds of sadness, or the ridiculousness of being. Life reduced to this room's 4 walled landscapes, all black framed, black and white, in modern faux traditional. First picture, the bottom of an empty tumbler, light stirred and shaken in the tall shadows cast. Second, honey or syrup, dripping from a slightly tipped spoon, a single tiny bubble trapped in this too sweet oozing. Third, a man's hands clasped at a table, fingers bent, half praying, maybe, half gripping air. Finally, 8 part fishes, 4 separate bodies, 4 curved to each other, 5 dead eyes, 2 open mouths, lots of ice to keep death fresh. Part 2. Spin the bottle. Let green glass decide. Or pick a card, any card. The ace or knave of hearts, say. Always a spade that ends it. But on the way, clubs and diamonds. Lives lived in black, white and red. No dodgem lights and music sparks. No mystic white horse carousel. Turn round and round and round, and still the same worlds laid out as more or less faux choices. To step now into my own wild portraits, or fade into scuffed cream offerings. Already the painted scenes flake. Leper scales fall from sterile cage walls, like fish food, or a strange kind of confetti in tainted ivory. Treatment like hypnosis, semi-tranced, part thoughts as fishes in an echo stream of half-feeling, Beth sighs as lullabies when I sing little stars into kilter. My broken voice made whole by her hearing, all universes felt only in fractions, big and yet small, small and yet big. Afterwards, flitting out through the door to coldness, even my walk still lulled by these adrift heart traces. The city's metal seams and petal boughs slipping too into a seminess, a seamness, a one sameness, gently lifting and settling and lifting with the breathing skyline. Vertigo. The footbridge, a crane laid flat across air beneath, the A13 drops to underpass. Wind swirls, cars crush down, this Styx rushes onwards. I brace myself above the noise, pace breath as the path thins, not a tightrope but slack string. Stare fixed, taut on horizontal, I think of the Titanic. Why this? Why now? Not the British liner rusting in mid-Atlantic history, but the Hollywood glitz ship sinking. Kate pushes Leonardo away as she talks of not letting go. Romance ended, rather than face its daily failings. And facing my life? That high wire with no safety net of red roses softening below. How do they do it, those who run across lightly, stopping only for elegant flourishes of dance? Theory less firm here than the unseen forces charged with steadying the metal, bone and flesh of now, suspended above this traffic's thrust. Glass and aluminium bullets hurtle towards me as love's illusions once did. But just one way over. Step, hold, step together. I will my feet into set patterns, giddy with nausea, heartbeat and thrill. From parts. Part 1. Lee's skull is still gold. Where to touch him first? Hand, cheek, chest, curves. Memory's flesh layered thicker than Lee's real body. I half expect, against reason, for the mind's dried paint to leave its trace on my timid fingers made fierce by longing. Instead, on this canvas as in life, my thumbs smear his once blood-red lips, push guilt into eye sockets, use a dead leaf to daub his cheeks. Only he could wear this false gold lightly, as a halo. Part 2. A body made of leftovers. as if one leg shorter than the other, my gait, lopsided, pigeon-toed without Roddy, head hung in invisible ash swirls, bare feet blanched by a sea beyond wake, my hunger gnaws on white, a dog bone dribbling eternal saliva. Somehow this brown thorn has become my whole body. The black tornado of Carl's pupils twists and smudges me, the thorn in his eye that bleeds nightfall. Part 3. More bones. The new bracelet of red skulls rests heavy on my wrist, heavy on its string, that thin elastic which should break, but doesn't. These notched stone marbles, vivid in their dye, comfort eye and senses as they irritate my thoughts. That death should lie so bright, so smooth against the skin that love and lust kissed. The skin where only last week I tested a strange knife and found its point was wanting. Part 4. A riddled flesh which cannot betray. My feet, Carl's feet, our feet, weight spread across this flesh bridge, still distinct in not quite separation, each half pair angled at a bartered slant. Yet no role of subjugation, both equal within their shared standing. Impossible for one foot to rise up onto tiptoe without also lifting up its mate.
These flings. I know you don't want to talk about it anymore, but I'm still struggling. One might be a mistake, but to do it again? And that you didn't tell me. Lying by omission is still lying. And if you had been able to lie outright, how long would you have tried to hide this? 5, 10, 20 years, behind my back, living another life, fucking someone else, and not just fucking them, but sharing, confiding your feelings, my thoughts, our life. You say it didn't mean anything, and I try to believe this. Even believe that you believe this, that you didn't know what you were doing, that it was insane self-doubt, some desperate search for escape. But it's like the person I know is not, like living with a stranger and not even knowing it. Do you even love me? Do you know? Do you want to leave me, or me to leave you? Well, what do you want? I know you're not well, I know you're confused, I know you didn't mean to hurt me, but it does hurt. This has to stop, and you have to decide. You can't run away from yourself. And suicide is not the answer. Beth would never forgive you, nor would I. You know that, don't you? You might find a rogue attractive. Women seem to. But it's hard to love a bad man, and he won't know how to love you. Not as you should be loved. Not as you're loved by me. We can change this, now you're getting better. Maybe not make it right, but righter. So long as that's what you want. So long as you still have hope. I know life has been hectic, and I've not always made time for you. But we can sort that. I can work less, be there more for you. We can move if you want to. Anything, so you don't feel so isolated. I love you. You and Beth are everything for me. Everything I do for us. We can fight this. We can fight anything. I just want to see you happy. All my love, Carl.
Small bones. For Carl. That place of secrets where the body enshrines love within infinite spirals. Where you stroke back my curled strayings, leave me laughter-wrapped, sweet everythings, and the gifts of your tongue given only to me. Where your voice seduces with whispers and mysteries, and echoes of shared dreams that have travelled with us beyond the reach of other sounds. Ossicles alert, vibrating each other.
Dear I can't stop thinking about what you said. The choice of another dog or a baby? Really, Emma? Another worry, another expense, and in your state? A dog, of course a dog, even with my asthma. Another baby would break us, wouldn't it? Seriously though, it has been going round and round in my head. You know, we always envisaged us having two, but after what happened last time, and everything since. Can't wait to have you home and talk properly. Love you.
The letter I would have written. Dear Beth, please, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I can't see. I no longer know how to. I worry I won't dream you. I shan't be. I so long to show how you. I should have loved you better. Should have been a better mother. I. This isn't how I want it. Even words swerve away from it. I love you. I'm sorry. Please. Love, Mummy. The bearable unlightness. Through the train's framed glass, windows play past the parcel with lives snatched from their brief context, flattened snippets set into grey sky. Our motion tilts. Metal angles its snout through daisied grass and mounded earth, pushes past concrete, streets wet fur, that mist of after rain estrangement. The world swizzes by in part-lit parts, slows, bends, then forces on faster and faster through the sun's hide-and-seek. We race, the shadow selves, trying to pass us.
Patient 97564, case notes. Reassessed after 4 weeks of treatment, 20 sessions. Emma Bailey's Beck depression inventory is down to 12, mild depression. Her Beck anxiety inventory is 5, minimal anxiety. As she has responded successfully and is in remission, a follow-up maintenance program is now recommended of 1 session a month or a block of 3 every quarter. It has been agreed that the psychiatric centre will contact her in January. Meantime, Emma is to call us earlier should her situation worsen again. We understand she is waiting for cognitive behavioural therapy. As her support network at home is good, we have advised her to think about reducing her mirtazepam when she is ready. Her current dose is not significant psychiatrically, and her sleep problems might be dealt with on a lower dosage. Going to relate also discussed. Letter sent to her GP.
Returning. Home, something home. Myself as the stranger. Atlas strained in the carrying of a life too big for this holder. Balancing 2 worlds, neither real, but always one jostling the other. There, the Emma who passes careless in the street and finds sleep in dream cracks. Here, home, vastness condensed into my child's eyes and my husband's laughter. My heavy spheres release onto one of many rivers leading to one Styx sea. Its absent ferryman whistles the currents to rip tides around my only harbour. Here, inside those strong arms where brine spills without fear of reprisal. Fierce love. To be a lyrebird, dove or pigeon, strong-clawed and sleek-feathered, to write songs of flight in italics against grey skies and dig out the worms that dirt hides, to carry dawn home in my silky down, spread light across fields and town, then balance, stillness in the winter's stark trees. To know heights higher than the highest branch, grip the hardest edge of ice, and graze the skins of frozen lakes. To see small breaths slowly melt even landlocked limbs. For his touch to ruffle my night face now, softly as a snowy owl, with the dark eyes of a falcon, fierce, starless, and deep, enough to drown my fears. Unwanted presents. The self-stirring glass coffee mug, heavy batteries power its small whisk. Used once, the dishwasher breaks it. My bright blue nail varnish picked out by Beth. Not the colour of sky, sea, or anything I'd wash my hands in. Rough keratin buffed smooth, my slicked smile, its liquid gloss, a shade of dull school days that drips in thick drops, the smell of chemical pretences and guilt. Winter, The therapist tells me to walk aware of the senses present in each moment. Ice winds sting, my throat is grated beetroot. Even without reality's coldness, my brain refuses to be drained of what-ifs. And what if, even with the pain and dangers, I feel safer and more alive in the mind's alternatives? Love is in the grouting. 10 months after his promise, he removes the matchsticks and smooths white into the gaps. His hands messy with waste paste, he soothes corners to soft curves, then unsmudges ceramic edges. All this unnoticed. What about the bins, the washing up, and broken light? I question. You've not paid the water, there's things for the loft, and the tiles are still... 12 weeks later, he shows me. I run a finger across the surface cream, shining with our part faces, each reshaped around the other's fragments. Wanted or not. Unsought gifts, socks, smellies, chocolate, bubbles that don't last, baubles that crack, the silver chains for neck and wrists, life. And no way to give back this pile of unasked for presents, thoughts, emotions, feels that whittle us to matryoshka dolls with wooden skin shells and peg hearts. Ghosts inside ghosts. Yet still that urge to redeem one wasted life by creating another. Wanted presents, smiles, the count of weeks and trimesters, the breath of a new life, bigger than my own. Count, count, count. One line, tested 3 times. A new baby hope, named. A new hope, named baby. Named a new baby, hope. Not bearing the runt. The little chicken egg Beth hands me, barely 1/10 the other's size, small enough to fit on a 1p piece. A butterfly egg, she spellbinds me, her smile wider than this tiny oval and the stunted life inside that time still hides from her, while I curb the hand's own longing to stroke my barely growing belly. No magic stronger than this. My heart. I tried to find it once, drew a paper shape like a dog rose petal, pink and unthorned. My head nested in his chest, I heard his steady tonal note. Still my pulse spat apple pips, shat birdseeds, a febrile blip on flat screen. Everything force-paced by this thing I have not seen. Hand rested on my breastbone, I imagine flesh cleaved, then a muscle fist slabbed raw on meat counter. The deepening disappointment that it will not sound braver, louder, stronger before its fragile song fades. Not letting go. Imagine time as many ice cubes, one for your mother, another for each brother, lover, child. Ice cubes clink, they're slipping within your palm's small grasp. Flesh clenches against, despite, or to savour the cold's bite, that shock of invisible eels. Keep that ice cupped, resist pain and numbness while you pan to the scenes outside. Imagine the sky as those hands gripping the moon's shifting curves, while dead stars pit the night's skin. Even these past traces will disappear into a wider lit vastness. Meanwhile, the ice cold and your hands of barely flesh pretending to be a bowl. Too much, wet slides, the cubes drop, a clatter of angles and corners. Touch removed, they slowly glide into their own melting, this pattern of passing through towards an almost stillness beyond human holding. Stop here, just before the unseen end. Already it's over, yet unthawed desire creeps in to goosebump your sleep. It reddens soft fingers, always twitching for more. Promise. Dear Carl, hold a single candle in your hand. Recall the befores that shaped this afterwards. The tapered white that satined our days, the transparent skin of love-limbed nights. Burn the rouse gently, let paper thread memories coil kindly around the wick. Smile at this weak likeness to a bedspring, but not. The live flame no flesh can hold tight. The string we kept alight, always knotted to death's metal base, its constant weight. Let time lake while the kindling glows bright and moth wings flutter. When their beat stills and liquid hardens, take our once soft wax to your mouth. Blow out the last heat.
Missing. Shallow end, 1 metre, 3 foot, 4 inches. A ghost shivers in the water's sunlight, 25 metres of reflections, then back, down deeper than the cemented tiles, the drains beneath, any entrance to Hades. Paper posters long since faded or torn, a plaque fears the worst. Bold in brass, in memory of Emma Bailey. Cafe tables ripple with murmurs of hot chocolate, beans on toast, a cheese panini, the everyday breads of life. A fruit tea bag soaks a tissue, dyes it black, the stain a speckled jam seed pattern. How many eyes will notice this, or one plaque to child, wife, mother? There's no dredging dregs for destiny's leaves, no crystal ball in the light bulb shining back from the sheen of these laminated tables. No Ouija movement, plastic boards fixed rigid, bone letters outline your name alone, stark cornered against the white wall. Even engraved metal holds no memories. Last seen by the river, how many tons of water have shifted past since? How black the Styx that filters to your sea, how fast the fish that swim from your mouth. Where now will our child find her pearls, your wisdom drowned in this ocean of false moons?
The Magnetic Diaries, a narrative in poems by Sarah James. Emma Bailey, played by Sarah James. Carl Bailey, played by Alec Newman. The Bonhomme Foundation researcher and doctor, played by Justin Leavesley.